My name's Mikey. I live in Truth or Consequences. I'm 40 years old and have been running ultras for about 4 years. I had read Board to Run and other popular books, but it was more about, we were on a road trip. My girlfriend had wrote a book called The Good Life Lab, and we were on like a 7-month book tour just promoting the book all over. And we were just getting huge. I mean, I was physically getting really fat just from eating out all the time and going out all the time. And I ran into an old girlfriend just randomly on this road trip, and she's like, you should try doing some runs. You should try doing some long runs. I think you'd really like it. And that was enough to be like, okay. So I started doing 5Ks and 10Ks on my own and building up some miles. And I never ran a half marathon or went to any other races. I just signed up for an ultra race, a 31-mile race in New Mexico, and it took about 6 months, but I had enough training and went and finished the race, and I came in 7th place. So I was pretty excited to take it a little more seriously and start doing ultras more regularly. Initially I had all this extra weight, and the weight was just falling off very quickly with running, and so I got into shape. But then it became more about as a way of running away from things. Like I had a bunch of unpaid taxes I had to deal with, so running was just a way to be away from nasty IRS letters. I had work projects that I wasn't really focusing on, so I'd use running as a way to be away from that. And eventually I wrote a program to convert books to audio. So I would buy a Kindle book and then rip off the encryption and convert it into a fast talking computer voice talking away at me. So it was a way to read and have that be out doing a 3 or 4 hour run, but also finishing a book at the same time. So I've learned to actually read about 5 books a week. And you can just kind of download the latest books that aren't even in audio form, and that becomes sometimes my goal is not so much about racking up mileage, it's about just finishing more books. I've only had one scenario where I've started hallucinating. The case was I was helping a friend finish a race. It was a 200-mile nonstop race, so it's kind of like a 4 or 5 day event. And it was up in Colorado, so pretty high elevation in the mountains, over 12,000 feet pretty regularly. The whole course kind of dipped between 10,000 to 12,000. So you're pretty high up, and higher than I'm used to living at. So that's a challenge in itself. But by about hour 26 into the race, I was having pretty solid hallucinations. First, they came in audio form, so I would be near water sources like running rivers and little creeks and streams, and they would make enough white noise, a shh, that I would just start hearing conversations and voices within those. Not anything I could discern, not a real conversation, not scary voices threatening me or anything like that. It's just background noise at a restaurant. You're not really hearing the discussion. And then by about hour 29, we'd be walking through the forests or other things, and there's all these downed trees to the side of the trail, and what I would primarily see was I would see junkyard stuff, water heaters and upside down cars and a bunch of garbage. That's not what it was. It was a downed pine tree, but my mind was just creating these elaborate scenarios. So I think they're technically called figments, and the hallucinations are really when you have full-on engagement, when you're actually interacting with someone and can't tell it apart from reality. So that was my hallucination experience.